You may not have ever thought you could catch Pokemon in your sleep, but this is probably the closest you'll get. Pokemon Sleep is the newest smartphone app by the Pokemon Company, developed by Select Button. By the way, they're the same people who developed Magikarp Jump. You can probably see the resemblance. In this game, you sleep in real life in order to catch Pokemon within the game and study how they sleep. This game has been out for 6 months now and it's been going on strong, hosting all kinds of seasonal events and adding new content. But was this game worth the wait? Does it actually encourage sleep in a positive way? I've been playing Pokemon Sleep since it came out and I've logged sleep almost every single day, so let's find out if this game is good after 200 days of sleeping. So, if you don't follow Pokemon news super closely, you might not know that Pokemon Sleep was actually first announced all the way back in 2019. It was marketed as sort of a companion app alongside Pokemon Go. In the same way Pokemon Go gamified walking and exploration, Pokemon Sleep would gamify sleeping. And then you can gamify brushing your teeth with Pokemon Smile. No, this is not a video about Pokemon Smile. It was set to be released with the Pokemon Go Plus Plus device. That is really what it's called. The Pokemon Go Plus, just one plus, was originally a tie-in device for Pokemon Go only, which could connect to your phone and spin Pokestops and catch Pokemon for you without you needing to be on your phone. The Plus Plus does all of that and more with a built-in accelerometer to track your sleep as well as a speaker for lullabies and alarm sounds. We'll talk more about how that works later. After this announcement, fans waited and waited. It was kind of a running joke that the game would never come out and it was probably silently cancelled. But come summer of 2023, Pokemon Sleep reappeared, sporting a new logo and a fresh concept centered around Snorlax. Pokemon Sleep officially launched on July 17th, 2023. Every new week in the game, as the player, you are a sleep researcher. You will meet a new Snorlax whom you're responsible for taking care of, raising its strength by cooking for it and feeding it berries, and in turn, your Snorlax will attract Pokemon to your campgrounds for you to befriend. So that's the basic gameplay loop, but how does it actually work? You saw this coming, you have to go to sleep. Using your phone or Plus Plus device, say goodnight and place it on your bed. You have to sleep for at least 90 minutes in order for the game to count your sleep. The app uses your phone's accelerometer and microphone to track it. It is hard to fake sleep data because it tracks your movement in this way. If you choose to, you can also save the night's recordings to listen to later. The app will pick up any snoring, coughs, talking, or screaming, etc. near the device. You can also set relaxing music and sounds to listen to, as well as an alarm sound. When it's time to wake up, that's when the fun begins, as you'll get a report based on how you slept. It will show you how long you slept for, as well as how long it took you to get to sleep. The app uses 3 different types of sleep: dozing, snoozing, and slumbering. These represent how deep you're sleeping. Dozing is your lightest stage of sleep, where your body starts to relax. It's easy to be woken up at this stage. The snoozing stage seems to be when you start to enter deep sleep, but your brain is still pretty active, as it might be in a state similar to being awake, and your body might be tossing and turning a little. Finally, you'll hit your slumbering stage, which is likely deep REM sleep, or when you first start to enter it. REM sleep, or rapid eye movement, is the stage where you have the most dreams. You'll notice that these sleep cycles are not exact and not really scientific, but that's because this app is just for fun and there are limits to what exactly it can track. This is just a very simplified version of how sleep cycles work to introduce you to the concept. You'll get a report where you can see which type of sleep you got most of based on your past sleep types. This will determine what type of Pokemon you'll see, because each Pokemon has a sleep type as well. How strong your Snorlax is directly impacts your results in this next part. You'll see your sleep is scored from 1 to 100 based on how many hours of sleep you got. 8 hours or more gets you to 100. That is multiplied to your Snorlax's strength, which gets you your drowsy power. A high drowsy power will get more Pokemon to show up. Anyway, it looks like we have some visitors. This next part of the game is kind of like new Pokemon Snap. You'll photograph each Pokemon that has visited your camp and add them to your Pokédex. Most Pokemon have 4 sleep styles each, and some are more common than others. After that, you get to catch them, but we use biscuits instead of Pokeballs here. In the snacking phase, you get to feed the Pokemon, maxing out their friendship is how they'll join you. As you can see, there are different sizes of friendship bars. Usually, Pokemon who are already evolved are harder to get, but we have different types of biscuits we can use. You can just use the normal biscuit over and over, but they're more likely to get full that way. Sometimes you will get a Pokemon who is hungry, which means they are more likely to get a boost when you feed them and less likely to get full. Did I mention shinies are in this game? Yes, you can catch shiny Pokemon in Pokemon Sleep. There's no way to hunt for them, but they can just randomly show up just like any other Pokemon here. The odds for shiny Pokemon is apparently 1 in 450, which is pretty damn good considering in a regular Pokemon game the odds are closer to 1 in 4,000. Shiny Pokemon will always appear hungry and give a special rare animation where one biscuit of any type will completely fill them up. You can get a shiny Snorlax too. It doesn't do anything different, it's just cool. So by now you're probably wondering why we're catching Pokemon, and also what's the point of the game when you're awake. Good news, they are connected. Any Pokemon you catch can become your helper Pokemon. Helpers have energy that they will spend by being in your research team of 5. Throughout the day, they'll collect berries and ingredients for you. This is how we make our Snorlax stronger. Snorlax will always appear at basic rank 1, and your job is to get it as high as possible. The higher rank, the more different species of Pokemon will appear. Snorlax's strength will let it grow, and it can get big enough to where Pokemon will use it as a bed. Your Snorlax will always have 3 berries that are considered its favorite, and a preferred food. You'll get to make 3 meals a day for Snorlax using the ingredients your helpers collect. Snorlax will snack on berries any time of the day, and his favorite ones will boost its strength even more. When cooking, you have the option to auto-cook, or use recipes you've already discovered. The more times you cook a dish, the stronger it will get too. It becomes easier to build strength in an area you've visited before, and the more times you complete a week, the larger boost you'll get. But there are reasons to visit other islands since each island has a few unique Pokemon species there. Once your week is done, you'll say goodbye to Snorlax and get a summary of the week's research. Then you'll do it all over again. Okay, so now we know how the app works. It's time for me to break down my thoughts on it. Pokemon Sleep was created to enhance the quality of its users' sleep, but also give excitement during the day. In a corporate blog explaining the app, the Pokemon company states that they wanted the app to make waking up something to look forward to. This is demonstrated by most of the core gameplay taking place right when you wake up. I personally think it achieves this goal to a point. There have been times where I wake up and think, oh yeah, let's check my Pokemon Sleep today. However, I have to admit that the gameplay can get stale after playing for so long. So, sometimes there are not that many things to look forward to. Let's get into some issues I have with the app. This game was a little glitchy when it first came out. I think it's fine now, but some people I know have had some problems with it. Basically, if you don't have a newish phone, you might have problems running it. If your phone is overheating when you play Pokemon Sleep, please don't keep playing it. Also, don't place your phone under your pillow when you're asleep either. It's good to keep your phone plugged in while you're tracking sleep, but it's not necessary to do so. So, making progress in Pokemon Sleep gets harder the more you play. You receive a goal from the professor in the bottom right corner. Discover so many new sleep styles. This is how you unlock new areas and obtain other rewards. You may get out of research one week and realize you only found 2 new sleep styles out of 7 days. It's crazy because I know there are tons of Pokemon I haven't even seen yet, but when you keep getting the same ones over and over again, it can become really frustrating. I don't have issues necessarily of the concept of starting over each new week, but in practice sometimes it can leave you wanting more. I just skip through my report because I've already seen everything. However, they do seem to be updating this game by adding new Pokemon species every few months. While I was working on this script, they even added a new location for the first time since the game came out. Now, this was a relief for me since I had already unlocked all the areas that have been in since launch. Another issue I have is with evolving Pokemon. This game uses the candy system introduced in Pokemon Go, but it did not bring the same requirements for evolution along with it. So in Pokemon Go, Pokemon do not have levels, they have combat power instead. This means you can evolve any Pokemon if you have the candy for it and an item if they need it. But Pokemon Sleep uses candy and levels, which means you have to use the candy to increase levels. In my opinion, this doesn't work as well. The Pokemon you get are typically low leveled, and their evolution levels are unchanged from the base games, which also doesn't make any sense since you can catch already evolved Pokemon at these low levels. So why don't we just ditch level requirements for evolutions altogether? It's very strange and makes it to where some evolutionary lines are incredibly hard to get. I understand the need to balance this since evolved Pokemon are better at collecting berries and ingredients, but I still feel like this is unnecessarily difficult. This leads into my next issue. Evolving Pokemon does not count toward your sleep-style dex. Okay, I get it. You never studied this Pokemon after it evolved, you don't have its photo taken, sure. But if evolving Pokemon is going to be so difficult, I feel like it should count toward your goal. Just a nitpick. Next, let's talk about the currency used in Pokemon Sleep. There are 3 in-game currencies: Dream Shards, Sleep Points, and Diamonds. Dream Shards are earned in various ways by playing the game. They're used alongside candy to level up Pokemon and to increase the size of your cooking pot. I think Dream Shards are kind of a nothing item since it seems at the start of the game they're really hard to get, and then once you get into it, you're just being handed Dream Shards left and right with nothing much to use them on. I think it would be neat if the game added more unlocks for your camp or things you can do with Dream Shards, or even let you exchange them for items or something. The next currency is Sleep Points, which I kind of touched on earlier. That's your sleep score out of 100. You get to keep those to spend them on items that can help you gather ingredients, evolve Pokemon, or give Pokemon energy. You can get sleep points over 100 if you play during a certain event that boosts it, but usually you can only get up to 100. I think sleep points are a good currency because how much you sleep directly affects how many you receive each day, and this could encourage you to sleep for a longer period of time. Finally, diamonds are your premium currency that you primarily obtain by using real-world cash, but you can get some by completing tasks as well. Microtransactions and apps will never be my favorite thing, but at least so far, I feel like diamonds are not completely necessary to progress the game. But they can be used if maybe you don't have enough sleep points to buy an item that you want. They're also not terribly hard to get for free, so I think this is fine. What I don't really understand is why there is a premium storefront for sleep points, separate from the main one. Pokemon Sleep has a VIP membership system that you can buy for some extra perks. Personally, I don't really see how this is necessary, but if anyone has used this, please let me know what you think, since I have not tried it myself. The final thing I want to mention on the con side of things is, well, I don't really like having my phone on all night. That in itself has kind of made me want to stop using this app at times, since it's not really good for your phone to do that. Also, since the app has to be open the whole time, your phone's not able to do any of the background maintenance that it can do when you're not using it, like update apps and restart itself. I think this is kind of neither here nor there, but I thought it was worth mentioning since this could be an issue for some other people as well, if you're considering if you want to play this game. Okay, so let's get into the positives. So some background information about me is I've had chronic sleeping issues for my whole life, and I've been off and on different medications to help me get to sleep. This app actually came out at the perfect time for me, since I was just starting a new medication and I realized that this app could help me track if and how it was helping me. Now, like I said, this is not a medical app or device, so there can be some inaccuracies, but this is a big positive for me personally, since you may not know how long it took for you to get to sleep, or how much REM sleep you got otherwise. It's also useful to compare things like, this is how long it took for me to go to sleep while taking this dose or that dose or none at all. This is just my personal experience, so there's a good chance that this data means nothing to you, but I appreciate being able to find out this information easily with Pokemon Sleep, which is obviously an app that ties the data into Pokemon, which is something that I love. Another thing I like about this app is how it doesn't guilt trip you. I mean, we all make the jokes, right? If I don't get enough sleep tonight, my Snorlax is going to kill me. But the app never actually punishes you. Like, your Pokemon don't get sick or anything if you don't sleep. You also get a reward for going to bed within your bedtime. It's all based in positive reinforcement and encouragement, which I appreciate a lot. It also doesn't matter if, like, say, you work nights, so your bedtime is 10 AM or something. You can set your bedtime and alarms to any time you want. The app reinforces the idea that sleep is good for you, and its gameplay elements down to the sleep tips it gives you. I have to give it credit for that. I also have to mention the visuals and sounds of the game. They're really great, especially the music. For each area, unique music was created that also changes based on the time of day. All the music is delightful and also calming. The care put into each Pokemon's sleeping poses is really great as well. There are some really cute ones and some strange ones and some funny ones. A side effect of the game is also the fact that you can feed Snorlax 3 times a day, which may encourage you to eat 3 meals as well. The game really highlights health in its many forms, down to the tips you get in-game about healthy lifestyles and sleep. There's also the research community, which is an activity log of your friends who you've added. You get to see what their sleep score was and what Pokemon they have on their team. Also how their research for the day has gone. Having friends on this game is not only a way to keep each other accountable, but it's also rewarding since you get candies based on what Pokemon they found, and your friends get them from having you added as well. I really enjoy the feature of having your friends list be part of the game experience like this. It makes everything feel so interconnected. Otherwise, this game is a completely solo experience since there are no other interactions you have with another player. Next, I appreciate how Pokemon Sleep has events in-game that tie to real events and times of year. So far, we have Good Sleep Day, which is an event every month tied to the full moon. You get boosted sleep points and experience points, and Drowsy Powder. We've also had Halloween and Christmas events, introducing new Pikachu types based on the holidays, a New Year event with bonus spawns and sleep points, and an Eevee event with rewards and increased spawns around Eevee and its evolutions. Hi, while I was editing this video, they actually did announce a Valentine's event as well, so that'll be happening here in a few weeks. It just goes to show you that there's not going to be a good shortage of content in this game, which is really good to see. You get to research Pokemon of all sleep types during some events, which is something that you usually only get to do when you get a balanced sleep type on your daily report. I look forward to seeing what other events will take place in Pokemon Sleep since they're always a lot of fun and give you incentive to play. The team behind this game does a good job at updating it frequently, and seems to listen to feedback from users, which is something I really like to see when it comes to mobile games. One thing that bothered me when the game first came out was it was hard to restore energy to your helper Pokemon without resorting to using an item. But that was shortly rectified with an update that allowed helper Pokemon in your Pokemon boxes to restore energy when you sleep. And most recently, there's been an update where your entire team can gain energy from eating when you cook a meal for Snorlax. New Pokemon species also get added often. At first, I did think it was strange that anytime they added new Pokemon to the game, they only added about 1 or 2 species. But if you think about it, each species is typically 3 or 4 new sleep styles, so it adds up in the long run. The Pokemon species in the game currently seem to be mostly from Gen 1 and 2, with some Gen 3 and 4, and then only Sylveon from Gen 6 and Beware from Gen 7. I hope that more Pokemon from more recent generations continue to be added, and I would also love to see some legendary events added. Like, maybe they could add quests around finding Darkrai or Cresselia since their whole thing is dreams. I think that would also add some more story to the game, so I'd be excited to see something like that. So overall, do I recommend this game? I do, since I think it's fun and helpful and a good tool to gamify sleep. I think I speak for a lot of us when I say that many gamers have problems with going to bed at a reasonable time. So if you think that this game will help, you should go for it and definitely add me too. Just don't say anything if you see a bad sleep score from me. It happens. Remember that this game is not an end-all be-all cure for insomnia or anything, but it may help you start thinking about your sleep in a healthy way. If you already play Pokemon Sleep, sound off in the comments. Do you like the game? What improvements would you like to see? Has it helped your sleep? I'd love to know what other people are thinking about this game. I first wanted to make a video on this game since I hadn't seen many people talk about it outside my friend group. And I think many people don't really know how it works, and may get turned off by the fact that you have to sleep during the tutorial and all that. I recommend reading the blog from the Pokemon company I referenced earlier too. I'll link it in the description since it talks a lot about the development of the game. It's really neat. Anyway, I hope you liked my summary and review. Good night!